This week we're looking at home prices as we hit mid-year, so stay tuned. Welcome to another local market update with Rick Batista. Welcome to another weekly market update. Can you believe we're halfway through 2023 already? Just seems like I put the snow brush away last week. Here we are, just about to start summer, which in Chicago is about 3 or 4 weeks, so enjoy it. You know, with so many things going on in the economy, as well as in and around housing, I'm committed to bringing you weekly market updates because monthly just doesn't cut it anymore. With that said, later this week we'll be putting out our monthly market update video taking a closer look at May 2023, so make sure to be on the lookout for that. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this video discusses both national and local data. The local data that we'll be sharing in just a bit is for Chicago proper. This is 77 areas. And although we do service all of Chicagoland, including the Burbs, later in this video we'll only be going to dive into the city's data. And we always start off our videos with a fun fact, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I did want to bring something up that is very near and dear to my heart. Last week we had a School Street Social, which if you've been following us for some time, it's a community and musical event that we put on in our neighborhood here in Roscoe Village. And the last event on June 3rd was absolutely fantastic. We were raising money for a wonderful nonprofit organization right here in Chicago, the Musical Arts Institute. The artists did an amazing job performing their songs and helping raise money for a wonderful cause. But lucky for you, the phone lines are still open. So from now till June 15th, we're still taking donations for MAI. I'm sure they'll be very happy to see how much money we can raise. To put things in perspective, the cost of teaching musical instruction to one student is about $1,750 per year. Our goal is just to do $750. So wish we can get up to the full $1,750. If you can make it happen, please do. Otherwise, we'll be happy to send over whatever we do collect for them. So thanks for listening to that. Let's get started now with the fun fact, and we'll share some other info and insights with you before covering the fun numbers. Fun facts, market time. Sales prices of existing homes rose in nearly 70% of metropolitan areas in the first quarter of 2023, according to the latest quarterly report from the National Association of Realtors. Despite the increase, however, affordability improved slightly from the fourth quarter of 2022, when 90% of metropolitan areas saw annual sales price increases. On average, families spent 24.5% of their monthly income on mortgage payments in the first quarter this year, compared to 26.2% in the fourth quarter last year. And if you haven't seen, that was some information that we covered in last week's video. Feel free to check it out. We went a little bit more in depth. You know, when we look at the markets this year, it's really been quite the turnaround, right? We started at the beginning of the year with a wide range of forecasts of what the market would be, just given what happened last year. And to recap, if you haven't been paying attention, who can forget the mortgage rates shot up? In fact, more than doubled right around May of 2022, so just over a year ago. Prices reached their peak, and with that, at the beginning of the year, we had all kinds of headlines that ranged from fairly upbeat, not that many, all the way to doom and gloom and predictions that the sky was falling. So here we are today. And as most of the fears that enter our mind and escape our lips, so much of the bad stuff that we feared didn't happen or come true. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that everything sprinkles and unicorns, especially for those of us who have been in the industry and seen a thing or two. And for those of you who have bought and sold property within the last couple of decades or so, we understand that this is a much more normal housing market. We just got to ride the waves as they come. Overall, though, the market is still quite lively, especially throughout Chicagoland. We're seeing lots of buyers out and about, given the limited inventory or rather tight market, meaning when something nice hits the market, there's plenty of interest, showing requests, and very likely multiple offers. And this is actually very true of the rental market right now in Chicago, if you're on that side of the coin. But let's talk about home prices. And you may ask, why are we looking at home prices? Well, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. In a sense, home prices are not really a driver of the market, yet it is. It serves as a signal. It's a balance between supply and demand. How many homes are available for sale versus how many buyers are actively looking or hoping to dip a toe or even jump into the pool. Traditionally, with more buyers and fewer homes, as we're seeing in today's market, prices tend to rise. The flip side of the coin is with fewer buyers and more homes on the market, we tend to see prices lagging. And so this year in particular, I think it's useful for us to take a look at what home prices are doing, because we seem to be at one of those inflection points where there are contradictory signals in the market. Expectations, forecasts, and predictions certainly did their share to muddy the waters. That's why I'm here to help pull you out of the muck and see what's going on beyond those scary headlines. So the big question is, what is happening with home prices? And what is it telling us about the markets? Capture a clear response and give a little more focus. There's a quote from Allie Wolf at Zona. Keep in mind that she has the lens from the new home construction side of the market. Allie said, "We'll never be able to catch the market exactly due to long lead times in our industry. But we need to try to block out headline noise and stay focused on longer-term trends." And the key here is that headline noise. If you don't watch the news much and then turn on just about any mainstream media channel, there's so much noise. People are talking and not even reporting the news, really. Most of the news that we see nowadays seems to be more commentary and opinions. But you have people talking, then you have the banner at the bottom with the headline or the subject they're talking about. Or that there's a scrolling news feed, the time and the weather in the corner, the channel in the other corner, moving images, everything on repeat. And who knows what else? How can anyone focus with all that garbage? Remember the days when we can just get the news from AM radio? Oh, for those of you who may not remember, AM radio was today's version of podcasts. They just weren't cool back then. As last year was wrapping up and this year progressed, there's been so much talk of recession. Is it coming? Is it happening? How bad will it be? Is the Fed going to help or hurt us in the process? Folks, there certainly hasn't been a need to press the panic button just yet. We may not have to at all, at least not in the near future. Market and economy are doing what they're doing. Let's do our part to find out the facts, study history and trends, and support one another within our households and communities to get through these interesting times. So let's take a look at a few slides from Realtor.com. When you're exploring the option to buy these days, you're likely to go on to one of the big sites out there, ones that have access to MLS data. And from there, you tend to set up a portal and set up a search. And that you get a sense of what home prices are, whether they're the asking price or recent sales. The asking prices, they're just that, asking prices. The list price, marketing price. A healthy market, when making an offer, you can expect to land somewhere between 3 to 5% of that asking price. What we've gotten used to looking back at the insanity the last couple of years, that asking price was just a starting point. Every home, especially the ones selling within minutes, were getting well above asking, along with the buyer's firstborn and maybe a brand new car. The result, that drove up home prices. And most definitely in the cases of cash buyers where you can toss the appraisal out the window. Put things a little bit more in perspective, like we talked about in last week's video and some more of our recent market updates. In the case of the foreclosure moratorium, you go from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, it's only an increase of 1 unit. Percentage-wise, though, it's a 100% increase or doubling or tripling. Since it's a little unfair to compare a very volatile and abnormal market to one that is stabilizing and or stable, and or normal, and or overall a healthy market. Basically, depending on how the reporting is happening, we have to be very careful how the data is being interpreted and received. Mortgage rates and the time of year always play big roles in list prices. Spring prices tend to be higher than a home hitting in the winter, especially in colder regions. So looking at these Realtor.com slides and the list price going back to January of 2020, you can see here where we peaked out in June of 2022. That's right around, I would say right after because it happened in May. The rates went up and the market certainly started to adjust, and you can see where it went downward. But looking at January of this year, definitely a mental shift, as there tend to be around the new year, and list prices started to creep back up again. Showing that same slide, again, the peak being in June of 2022, you can see where the darker colored bars when the mortgage rates were going from about 6.5 to 7%. And again, we started to see some rates either go down a little bit week after week, and certainly fluctuate up and down since the beginning of the year. But I think that's when a lot of buyers started to recognize that the rates are what the rates are, and it probably would be better if they're in a situation to do so to go ahead and purchase sooner than later. This third slide here, if you're actually taking a look at what we were talking about a moment ago, about how the data really needs to be interpreted properly. We compare listing prices from December to those in January, they were actually up about 3%. And even year over year, they were up about 1%. So prices didn't really crash the way that the media had portrayed. They actually behaved the way that we expected them to do, given the time of year. And as I just touched on, we're seeing more and more buyers understand that today's rates are today's rates, and they can buy something now, potentially before prices potentially increase. They can always refinance later when it makes sense to do so. This is why you have to look at different figures through a different lens, if you will. So when you look at the price changes, we take two approaches. One is to look month over month, which really gives us momentum indicators, particularly in volatile markets. When you're going from a peak market on a low trajectory or when you've hit a bottom and you're about to turn, the month over month reading gives you a nice quick view, especially when you have 2, 3, or 4 months of that. So it's your momentum changing. Either the market is picking up or it's slowing down. When we're looking at things year over year, it's really helpful in a stable, steady market because it removes some of the seasonal volatility. Higher activity in the spring and summer are expected, while lower activity is anticipated in the fall and winter. It gets you a sense of trend, if you will. When you put those two together, you have a much better picture of the market. And a key to that, when we look at home prices for a long period of time, what stands out is the fact that they tend to reflect demographics, the economy, and market fundamentals. Moving right along, when we're looking at home price appreciation over the last 10 years, it really supports something that I've been saying. If you're looking to buy, right now may be better for those who are looking to stay put, or at least hold on to a property for the next 3 to 5 years at a minimum. Yes, you certainly don't know where life's going to take you a year from now. But you have to make decisions based on what you plan to do and what you're in a position to do right now. Taking a look at this next slide from Freddie Mac, we can see how home values did month over month going back to January 2022. When mortgage rates shot up, home values went down. In the new year, we started moving into the positive zone again. And I like to point out that home values did not plummet. They just took a little slumber in the second half of last year. Black Knight essentially shows the same picture. And this is something that Black Knight's Mortgage Monitor put out in April. Annual home price growth rate slipped to 0% in April. The first time prices have been flat year over year since the rebound from the GFC beginning in 2012. Current trajectory, the annual home price growth rate would only fall modestly below 0% for a very short time before pulling back above water by late Q2, early Q3. Confirming prices nationally have erased more than 60% of the price declines from last year and are on track to fully recover by mid-year. And this was something that was put out for April's data. And one last resource, CoreLogic, looking at the month-over-month change in home values recently adjusted. It does show essentially the same, where the second half of 2022 softened and then rebounded in the first 4 months of this year. Selma Help, the chief economist at CoreLogic, recently said this: recent trends suggest that home price growth in 2023 will fall in line with the historical 4% annual average. Another thing that we've been covering in recent market updates is how your region plays a role in home prices. Latest data from Case-Shiller is from this past March. Interesting, if you take a look at the top 20 metros, so you look at the difference between year over year versus month over month. In year over year, 10 markets are seeing appreciation in the red, but month over month shows only 5 markets in the red, which is a sign that those areas that were impacted more by the tech industry may be seeing improvement overall. We'll certainly continue to monitor this data. And since this is data from March of 2023, looking at the U.S. nationally, your home price movement is at 0.7% in the black, while the month over month is at 0.4%. So as we were talking about since the beginning of this year, shortly thereafter, what we've been projecting is certainly showing to be true. It's going to be very, very minimal, maybe a slight decrease, slight increase, but so far kind of a flat market. Meaning there's not going to be any huge jumps upward or downward, either nationally and or locally here in the Chicagoan market. And you actually take those 10 cities that we're seeing the year-over-year change in the red and compare that month over month. You can see how those two data points match up. Next slide here is the percentage change in home prices. This is sourced by the FHFA. Year-over-year changes as of the first quarter of 2023. National average is up by 4.3%, and the West certainly seeing the greatest impact. Looks like a little pocket there. On the East Coast, here in Atlanta, we're seeing modest changes in line with the national average. But if you look at the over the last 5 years, as of the first quarter of 2023, the national average for home prices is actually up by 56.1%. And you can see that Illinois did not go as crazy as some of the other states, which is another reason why I've been saying that Illinois may not see that crash that so many have been predicting for some of the other states, or at least nationally. To wrap up, you can certainly look for an interesting week ahead, especially from the data perspective. Number one, the Consumer Price Index is coming out, which will be one of the principal measures of inflation. We'll be able to see what's happening with consumer prices. Number two, Federal Reserve, the Federal Open Markets Committee, the committee that sets the rates, is meeting today and tomorrow. So tomorrow on Wednesday, we'll have their decision on what happens to the rates. I know we've been anticipating a variety of scenarios, one being that they might pause in June, or they might continue increasing, which will have repercussions through the economy and capital markets. We'll certainly keep a close eye on that and keep you in the loop. Number three, retail sales, which gives us a read on the health of consumers. And number four, mortgage rates. We've seen them pull back a little bit in the wake of the debt ceiling resolution. So it'll be interesting to see what this week's mortgage rates will look like. Now it's time to wake up! For the moment you've been waiting for. This information and data is provided by the Chicago Association of Realtors. It's for the week ending June 3rd, 2023, and current as of yesterday, June 12th. Fun facts, we jump out of a quick facts. We're looking at year-over-year changes. New listings for detached single-family homes down by 33.8%. Attached being condos and townhomes down by 33.4%. Under contract, I think this is a little higher than last week. 11.7% higher in the detached market, while the attached was down by nearly 17%. Homes for sale, I think this is the lowest we've seen it. Year-over-year change down by 11.6% for the attached, and right in line with what we've been seeing for the attached, 33.4%. To unpack things a little bit more, new listings, we wrapped up the week of June 3rd with the detached market seeing 317 new listings. 3-month average of 327, down by 21.4%, while the attached 576, 3-month average of 541, down by 33.2%. Under contract, this is the properties that are contingent or pending for the week of June 3rd. 191 for detached, 3-month average of 210, down by 13% year over year. And the attached market 253, 345, 3-month average, and down by 29.4%. Inventory of homes for sale. These are the properties that are available and for sale in active status for the week of June 3rd. 2,068 for the detached market, 3-month average of 2,162, up by 1% year over year. Attached 3,140 with a 3-month average of 3,123 and down by just under 30%. So what does all this information mean for you? Heck if I know. All depends on what's going on in your life and your household. Let's start a conversation and see how we can help you make the most informed decisions. If you'd like copies of any of the reports or slides that we've shared with you today, feel free to reach out. You can call, text, or email. My contact information is below. And remember, love and money may come and go, but time is something we never get back. So I thank and appreciate you for sharing some of your time with me today. If you want to stay on top of the market with us, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other, and I'll catch you next time.